And you've also got two more recent ones, the Orc and Repressed. In Prince,
Yes, the Repressed is electronic music with 70s, 80s, which I started with Phil King, bass player with the Jesus and Mary Chain. And that's a growing one. It's very early days for that, but the Peppers and from the English studio concoction of the Peppers, the French studio concoction, to the Droids, which was a band on French Barclay, kind of 70s Daft Punk. And the Orc records is because RPM never, apart from Purple, didn't really get into the rock world. Orc is about classic rock. And I've started that with somebody who was in a rock band in the 80s. So what you get out of that is that it's not just me, it's always reaching out to other people who are experts in different fields, and then they can inflect what RPM put out with, the genuine article, if you like.
Yeah, you become a bit like Cherry Red. You're collecting labels and bringing them in.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And it's like the world of RPM. There's a way of producing the albums. There's the sort of project that we get involved in, and that's how it survived as well. We do get loads of suggestions, but that's because people have a feeling for RPM and they say, well, that's the sort of thing that RPM would do. Yeah. So they come to us with those.
And sort of time-wise, where do you see your range these days in terms of decades?
I think still, in terms of where we cover.
Yeah, decades
the time period we cover. I think I kind of joke post-rock and roll, pre-punk, because partly there are other experts in those areas. The punk field, obviously, Cherry Red, and New Wave, and the rock and roll Ace, for years have covered that really well. So 60s up to sort of early 70s, we've covered as a period. We have had quite a few American recordings in there, and done very well. Lou Christie, we've done a couple of albums with, and Sandy Posey, done really well with. But for me, it's the English side that really interests. And so we've done things like the Lip Smacking 70s series, which was about junk shop glam, another collector's area that's grown up in the last 10 years, which is junk shop glam, and it's kind of radio hits, and it's sort of pop recordings that never really made it to First Division, but they've still got some quality that you can enjoy. Yeah, because there was
Plod on that, which is Martin Newell, our next guest.
Absolutely, yeah, which was a key track to put on to the first one we did, which was called Velvet Tin Mine, and we put on Martin's Neo City. That was a really key track. And interestingly, I noticed that there's now a radio station, an internet radio station called Velvet Tin Mine Radio. Which is like, yes, we've made a complete new name, and somebody's taken it on to give it a life of its own, which I really like. Which is like Phil Smee came up with the term freak beat when he was running Bam Caruso, which is just a made-up name for a type of music with fuzz guitars and a certain beat behind it. And it's now considered a genre. A lot of people reference music and go, oh yes, that's freak beat. And he just made it up. So I like that.
So what does the future hold for your expanding RPM empire of all these labels and genres and things?
Well, there's still the drive to discover more. I really love hearing things I've never heard before. There are lots of enthusiasts out there that keep throwing things my way. So there's still that voyage of discovery. There's still lots of people to meet from the industry. So there are lots of projects to work on. They will still be defined slightly by what's available. It's obviously interesting times because of the method of delivery of music. However long the CD lasts, then that's good for RPM because there's the packaging element, there's the whole...
There's that physical side that you and I are
that's a bit key.
Important to us.
How RPM will adapt to the MP3 world, MP3 file world, I'm not quite sure. I mean, the recordings being available for download, that's okay, and that's one thing. But how you can package that up in an RPM way, I don't know. But so long as there's something physical about it, then RPM can happily exist.
Great. Okay. Well, thanks for coming in, Mark.
My pleasure.
About RPM, and thank you for watching Cherry Red TV. We'll see you again soon. Goodbye.